is interesting is that, I mean, we have a winner for this election, but the man of the match, the man of the moment, happens to be Mussa Dankwah. Yeah, so Mussa Dankwah joins us on the phone lines to share some insights with us. Good morning, Mussa. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Caleb.
Good. Now, you have said that this particular poll is one of the toughest in your work as a pollster so far. Tell us why.
Caleb, we've always had the challenge of people sometimes being not candid with us with their responses, especially those from the smaller ethnic minority groups in certain constituencies. But that has not been that kind of profound like in Akwatia. We're able to kind of assess what they want to do in a good measure. But for Akwatia, in the first poll that we conducted, whereas NDC was behind among the accounts by 6%, they were also behind among all the other ethnic groups that vote for them traditionally. I mean, the Moli Dagbanis, the Ghana Dangbes, and the Evers in those areas. We understand perfectly that when they are not in their areas of dominance, they tend to take cover because of marginalization or so many other things. Yesterday, the final poll we conducted, they realigned and they were voting as historically we've known them to vote. So after the predictions, it was based on the fact that they are going to vote the way they said they will vote. But in the exit poll, I became nervous. Almost every other ethnic minority group, except Akan, NDC was losing them in the exit poll. And I said, goodness God, what is happening today? But then when I did some analysis, I also found out that these guys may not be candid with the responses they are giving us. So I became very nervous at some point, but then I took comfort in the fact that 50% of the respondents were saying that they will be driven to vote based on developmental projects. And about 60% of those people were voting for NDC. Then I knew that NDC was going to win, even though it's difficult and you can't predict what these guys were doing. So in the exit poll, actually MPP was leading 51% and NDC 49%. And I said, if this is the exit poll, that means NDC has won. Because these ethnic minority groups, they were playing with us in the field.
But how were you able to come to such conclusions?
We have experience in this job for many years. In Asinov, for example, the final poll we did in Asinov, MPP was leading by 1%. And in the same poll, we saw these ethnic groups also saying that they were voting for MPP's candidate. And in the end, we saw what happened in Asinov. That was exactly what happened in Akwatia yesterday. It wasn't as close as I was nervous about.
Right. Now, I'm looking at your by-election report, and you have broken things down, factors with greater influence on how voters tend to vote. And you're saying that many of the people you sampled or surveyed said they were looking for developmental projects. And then you also give us factors with greater influence on how voters intend to vote. And then the education background played some role. Throw some light on what the people were expecting, the track record of the political parties' influence, and the new outlook of the voters in 2025 as was exhibited in the Akwatia elections.
Caleb, about 50% said developmental projects. Economy was about 15%. You have education and then jobs, galamsey, 5%, sympathy vote about 5%. Clearly, the dynamics of what people take to vote in this country has moved beyond sympathy when an MP dies. And then also we must always pay attention to the demography of the people. In banking, they call something KYC, know your customer. I think the political parties must adopt know your constituents. Clearly, we underestimated or misunderstood who are Akwatia voters. Akwatia voters, according to GSS, are highly educated, and that showed in the poll, in the sense that majority of the people, over 60% of them, have senior high and tertiary level qualification. Their needs are different. They are not galamsey goers. Galamsey goers are those normally in the no educational column or junior high qualification column. So if you are pivoting your campaign, you must pivot it in the demography that has the majority. If you are picking a candidate, you must pick someone that appeals to the majority of the people you are looking at. And that MPP got it wrong. They ignore the demography and they pay dearly for that.
So they are picking a candidate from Buedua, which happens to be the stronghold of the NDC, didn't help at all, based on their educational backgrounds and their aspirations, as well as the age demographics of the electorates.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, Buedua has the eastern part and the western part. The eastern part is where MPP does well. And yesterday, the numbers that came from there were abysmal. And in the NDC side, they were winning with a huge margin. And this is home ground of Esumid. And the numbers that came from Wenchitu, you could see they were not enthusiastic. They were voting the other way. So we have to really pay attention to data and make decisions based on data and data alone. Because when we get emotional, emotions these days don't win elections. The Gen Z voters are different. They are very deadly and unforgiving. Your messaging must be apt and it must target their concerns.
Well, yeah, Musa, while all these are true, we did see the manifestation of money in this particular by-election. Wouldn't you say that's played a role as well?
Absolutely not.
Really?
We've done a survey in this country before the last election. And we measured what proportion of voters will take money and switch their vote. That number was 7%. So if you are investing 100 million into constituency to buy vote, you only get 7% return. That is a big loss.
Right. So moving forward, what should politicians learn? What's the big lesson that politicians can take from the results of this by-election, and then also the relevance of polls such as yours?
Caleb, the word there is the polls, the survey, research, and science. Gone are the days when elections are won on propaganda, on emotion, on insult, or on anything. And all the parties, they must realize that the demography of people who are voting in Ghana today has dramatically changed. Over 70% of people who vote in Ghana today are below 35 years of age. Caleb, that is something that these guys must appreciate and understand the implication of that. These people are well connected. They are on social media. They do fact check. And when they fact check you and you are lying, that is your reputation and your brand in the gutter.
Right. Thank you. So this must be one of your toughest but most fulfilling, I guess. I saw some of your messages on social media. You're very excited. Why did it matter so much, this particular one?
Because I knew I would have been taken to the slaughterhouse. They were preparing to take me to the slaughterhouse, Mayanka, to finish me in Kwata if I got this wrong.
Right. Right. Anyway, thank you for talking to us. Well done on congratulations on a job well done. That was a very close poll. It really mirrored the outcome. Mussa Dankwah runs Global Info Analytics. He's been speaking to us on the results of the by-elections that came through.